So far, what we got? 28 so far entered in the junior Faskarts. Big turnout. Glad to see my ankle biters ready to roll. Looks like they had a very, very successful Fastkart camp during the week. One got rained out. One had a good turnout. I'm hearing everybody bragging on Braylon Eder for his mentorship. So look out. And a couple nice changes. Her Miss Adeline has finally changed the paint scheme on her number 51 there to become her own unique number 51 ride. A few other changes in the pit area as well. And just seconds away from getting the gate rolling here for some hot laps. Uh-oh, there they go. They're letting the folks inside the gates. That must mean a good sign that we're ready to go with hot lap practice. So track is open, track is open, track is now open for hot lap practice here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Means I got to go look and see if we're live worldwide on the on the YouTube. Can't be talking about Facebook anymore, Scott. I got to talk about the YouTube.
They still could go to Facebook and click on the link, though, for the YouTube. So we'll put that post up there. So
yep, and there we
to
are.
help steer you in the right direction. And here come those carts for the first group here, Tori.
Well, Colton Mason already right off the bat, the toy machine of Easton Underwood. Kylie Gully's number 12 is out there. And she's got some family members sporting some interesting hair colors. I think they had a Kool-Aid party or something going on out there.
You know, there's nothing more exciting than the junior fast carts on autograph night. And you see a lot of different things, you know. So
yep.
I assume that's some of that stuff celebrating, meeting their fans and things today.
One of the brothers had very, very bright red hair, so I called it a ginger reveal.
Yeah, and the Gullies and Colton Mason were just some of the kids that were out here during that junior fast cart camp. So good to see them here on that deal.
Yeah. Mason Summers out there, number 14. Racing Mason ready to roll. Kygo we talked about. Brian Ross out there in the black number 62. James Rogers in his black number 27 going down the backstretch. And who got Trenton Bliss in the 36. Boy, the Bliss family has just been rocking in these fast carts, adults and juniors here in 2025.
Yeah.
That whole team there just is making things happen.
Yeah, Gavin, who was in this cart last year, moved up to the senior fast carts, and Trenton just slipped right in the driver's seat and has been going nicely so far in his rookie campaign.
Whoopsie. 26 ride takes a spin into the infield. That was Colton Mason. And I'm sure it comes to us. Not sure where he's headed at this point. And
might have got him up near that marker, though. Might have got him in trouble there. That's something they talked about during the fast cart camp, you know, on how better ways to re-enter the track after taking a spin or so. So he might have been thinking about those things and then just got him up towards that marker and just no reverse in these carts.
Yep. Also got the Dragon Lady, the Lily Drago's out there also in the 09. They've got Drago has got a brand new Dragon Lady t-shirt. We've got Phrase has got her Ice Queen shirts out. They're all sporting their brand new shirts for the autograph night.
Yeah. Yep, very cool.
And Colton gets rolling again. That's a positive. Dad's a record driver, like a lot of folks here related in the automotive world.
Yeah, Dad, you know, moved into that new Mini Outlaw here a couple of races ago.
His second Mini Outlaw.
Well, he sold the other one, and it was out here practicing this past week with Mr. Travis Harmon.
That's what I heard.
The wheel.
Yeah, Travis Patty's part of my whole party out there. We've got a big turnout for the Chip Branham race, and a lot of folks coming out of retirement, semi-retirement, or mostly retirement. But it's going to be an interesting one. I feel it may not fit behind the steering wheel as good as they used to.
Yeah, some of them, after sitting on the bench for a little while, may seem 44 laps may seem like 444 laps to them.
Let's see. Got the first of the Hargraves making their way out. A couple got some fresh paint. Like
I heard of a few new paint schemes coming today, so that'll be enough to throw me off for sure.
Walker and Mason both out looking sharp as usual. 74 of Mason Hargraves, 42 Caden Gully. There we go, back again. Nick Ross, another part of my gangster group there in the white number 60.
Colton Swinford out in the 44. He was here on the fast cart camp.
I was razzing him a little bit. He had a real pretty orange shoes. I told him got to watch out there wearing orange shoes because the pit lizards pick those out.
Peyton Reidner also out there in the 64 ride.
Just in time for a little bit of a sprinkle to come down on us. We were expecting some pop-ups here. We've been getting them in the Indianapolis area for the last couple of days. afternoon pop-ups right about this time each day. It's a normal occurrence here, summertime.
Yeah, it doesn't last very long.
Nope.
Just in and out with all these hot, exhausted temperatures. But I did see on the hourly forecast that after this, any of this pop-up stuff happens, the temperatures do drop just a little bit after that.
Which is a nice little relief. A little bit of muggy afterwards, but yeah. So we're just basically just going to wait it out. So give us a second here to see how things go with this pop-up.
Tell them to get the four-wheel fast forwards and the Fords out there to drive the track.
So we are going to invite the front-wheel drives and Fords come out and do a little track drying, a little track time, if you would like, please. Keep the moisture off the racetrack there, kind of help the drying process. This is not supposed to last very long. We knew going in that this whole week, I said we've seen this all week long. I know we got a real gully washer yesterday down in Greenwood, where I was hanging out at. Had, in fact, back-to-back this week. Typical this time of year here in Indianapolis. So, Dan, sorry about the delay here, but we're just going to let this one pass on through, and it should be all clear afterwards.
So any front-wheel drives or Fords wanting to get out on the track right now, we invite you to head to the pit gate and come on out. Any of the factory front-wheel drives or the Ford division cars that want to get out there on the track, we'd like to welcome you to the track at this time.
A couple of folks came prepared. That's a one-time thing about this time of year, bringing the umbrella to the racetrack, not just for rain, but also to keep the sun off. So a couple folks know to be prepared for that. So, again, we're on a slight rain delay just in time to start practice as things got a little damp at the moment. So we're going to pull in a bit and wait for this to pass on through. It's supposed to be just, like I said, a pop-up situation here. Can't do much about it. Mother Nature is in charge at this point. Appreciate everybody checking us out on the freebie here at YouTube. Been filling up our YouTube with some fun stuff here the last couple of weeks and months, and look forward to doing more with that here as the years go by. Of course, also we are worldwide live at the track itself, plus at our Speedrome.tv. And we'll try to stay live as long as we can with the YouTube portion of it, but just right now, just had to wait for this to pass by. The good news is basically the track is so dang hot right now, it should dry up very, very quickly. Nope, even chased the flagman down.
I would have bailed long before that, Tori. Of course, then I'm a wuss with weather.
There you go. We had an interesting observation a while back, one of these rainouts that someone noted that back in the day, a lot of the guys, other than protecting their cigarettes, really didn't sweat too much, a little bit of rain on. But now we're all carrying $500 phones in our back pockets.
Yeah, or more.
So we can't exactly get away with it like we used to.
Yeah, and some of the folks, and we've all gotten used to something would happen to those expensive phones for a couple of hours or so, we would all be in dire straits. So
couldn't follow the race at the Indianapolis Speedrome on YouTube.
That's right.
There you go. Folks here in the stands, bear with us while we go through this. Again, you can see thinning in places. It's just part of the typical weather here in Indianapolis this time of year.
Yeah, just looking at the radar now, and I mean, you can't even really see this this blob or whatever that's touching us. It's so tiny. So it will not rain here very long whatsoever.
Okay, we're not ready for that music just yet.
Already the sun peeking out from behind the clouds. So
a couple interesting surprises already in the pits today. One, no tunnies yet, which is except there is a tunny car and not being driven by a tunny.
Yeah, John Carlson picked up a brand new ride, former Ben Tunney machine, former Austin Tunney machine in the pit area. So he's going to be anxious to get that out here on the track. So good to see him out here. John making another trip out from Washington. Also, just looking a few seconds ago on there, I seen Mason Hadley signed in, and wasn't really expecting Mason tonight. Mason was scheduled to make his street stock debut up at the Anderson Speedway tonight, but I see he's signed in. So hopefully that wasn't some misfortunate reason that he's back here on that deal tonight.
Not sure what. And then,
but his fans will be glad to see him.
Had a nice little guest come up from the Sellersburg, the Speedrome area there out of Sellersburg, Indiana. Hayden Adams, young lady, 15 years old, has started. She'd been racing karts down there. Just started this year in her Ford, and she decided she wanted to come up here and run. She wants to run the 8. Dad won't let her.
Yeah, Dad's going to run the 8, but they've got a young gun division. I don't know what it's exactly titled down there, but it's a teenager division for the Fords down there at the Speedrome Speedway. So I assume that's what she normally runs. Maybe make some appearances in the regular Ford division down there as well. But decided to come up here and message us this week about coming up. So glad to have her up here and welcome her to the Speedrome here tonight.
And Doug Riddle's back out in the number 21 car. Said he ran up the high banks up at Anderson, which was his old stomping ground. Said he wasn't too happy with that. He basically mowed the lawn for him up there. So.
Yeah, but they had some work on the car during the winter and just getting some things finally tuned up. And, you know, sometimes when you miss the first race or two of the season, sometimes it takes a little time to get the car ready to go, and got it ready for that Anderson event. And good to see him, you know, work some of the bugs out of the machine. He'll be ready to race here tonight, so good to have him back.
And let's see, we got Robert Eversole coming back out of retirement, literally bringing in, I had to laugh, didn't even have numbers on the car yet. They brought one literally almost fresh off the lot, it seems.
Yeah, and he's mostly the star of the show in this deal, but now Rayden's the king of the family back there. He's battling for a championship, so Pops might need to stay out of the way there when Rayden comes thundering around.
Jess Holliday's bringing out back one of his old number 63 machines. He had one of his championships about 3 years ago, so he pulled it out of the weeds, hadn't really moved it in 3 years.
Yep.
So I was joking with him. He had to chase the squirrel's family out from underneath the seat. But
yeah, and those two are two drivers that raced with Chip Branham, you know, and knew Chip very well. So it probably means something to them to be out here on this night of the Chip Brandom Memorial. Also got a couple of Van Valkenburgs back there. Oh, God,
I was wrong losing track of Van Valkenburgs, I'll tell you.
Yeah, we've seen Don the Third, you know, a few appearances so far this season, and Dad's out here tonight. And Don Van Valkenburg the second, the 54 machine. He's a former Hornet champion out here, and also raced back in the day in the old Novas and the street stocks and things. So,
well, we're gonna stock up extra oxygen over the ambulance there for some of our old timers. Make sure they can make it through. I've got my extra heart medicine if they need. So I've got my nitro pills.
Got it in stock.
We're ready for them if they need any. I'll have it up here for them. But, it's going to be an interesting night.
Any of those front-wheel drives or Ford drivers, front-wheel drives or Fords, if you'd like to come out and help drive the track, you're welcome to. The pit gate is open there. So factory front-wheel drives and Fords, you're welcome to join the track trucks and stuff out on the track and help us get this back ready to go.
Our friend Nisa Kay down in Florida, regular listener on our YouTube, is also going through a bit of a rain down there as well. So she's got the same thing we got, a little pop-up coming through.
That's what I was joking earlier. The Florida weather's moved up here this week where it's over 90 and then have an afternoon pop-ups, which is pretty normal for Florida. So
already a batch breaking up there to the west of us, so we just keep tabs on that, breaking up a bit. So should be ending up here shortly. But, I see my factory front-wheel drive volunteers come out to give us a hand. I think that might be the Devin Matthews, maybe.
Could be that or Downey. Those cars look a lot alike.
Yep. And a couple more coming on through. I think that's the Arrington 20. Now, Adam, excuse me, I say call him Buddy again. Adam Arrington's got an extra reason to get some extra track time. He just got done making some major repairs on that one, getting back race ready in the Ford division.
Yeah, so even though track conditions aren't racy, you could shake your car down in this and then be ready to go for your practice when the track's in
that may be Hayden,
condition.
Though. That may be Hayden Adams' ride. We'll see if it's number 20 on the side, not with the World sponsorship out of Sellersburg. I think we need to get somebody to open the gate for him.
That looks like the gate is open. I just don't know what they've there's a track official over there too as well, Tori.
Track official. We're inviting them out on the track, and now they're not. I'm not sure.
I don't know. They asked us to invite them, so we invited them, Tori.
Yep.
We must be the
somebody didn't get the memo.
Party poopers on that deal. We invited them to the party, and then. But anyway, got track vehicles out there right now. Got the ambulance out there making a few orbits around the Speedrome. See who else we got on the entries so far here today. That's signed in. See if there's anybody that sticks out.
All of it listed on my race pass, by the way, which gives you a rundown of the entries we've had so far. 31 of the junior Faskarts already in attendance. already in the pit area and checked in. 20 factory front-wheel drives, 13 of the Outlaws, 11 of the Fords and on the oval, and 9 on the 8.
Yeah, already 20, like you mentioned, of the front-wheel drives. That's a nice early start there for them. William Clark Sr. back here tonight, missed a few weeks here. He was here out here early in the season, so good to see him here tonight in the 114 machine.
I see Michael Phipps listed as a factory front-wheel drive. And
remember, he was here for the figure 8 a couple of weeks ago.
There we go. Okay.
So, and remember, unfortunately, he had some suspension failure situation on the very first lap. So really didn't get a good chance to compete there. So
Jeffrey Lynch back with us. Haven't seen him much here in 2025. He's very much a mainstay of this division here the last previous years. But
Scott Stewart Jr. here tonight.
Yeah, the green machine is back. The certified machine is back in there in the pits.
He is the one with the target on his back. Because he's won the Chip Brandom Memorial the last three years in a row.
Yep.
So
and passed tech all 3 times.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Matthew Roberts here tonight. We haven't seen him in quite a while.
He'll be out there in number 8 machine. Saw that. He's hanging out with the Harmon crew.
Yep.
Travis Harmon has just come out. He's got a 6-shooter out there, I think, out there. About that many cars there parked with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so popular out there. He's pulling in junior Faskarts to hang out with him too. You know, he's doing something right.
Yeah.
So nice little group for the factory front wheel drives. There you go, old man Robert Eversole. We talked about already that he'll be driving his.
He's the winningest driver in the history of the front wheel drives here at the Speedrome. So a little bit out of retirement there for Robert.
Yep.
Always fast anytime he shows up. Over on the Ford list, I'm seeing Bobby Applegate back out here. I think he's missed a couple of shows.
Well, Bentley's been showing him up. You see, I was talking to Bentley beforehand, and Bentley's I think he's going to finish better than Dad tonight.
Yeah, so Dad's looking to get a little revenge tonight on trying to one-upsmanship there as he's back in his Ford division car. Last year's champion Andrew Brown back out here tonight.
Yep, he's promised he's going back to running just the dirt, but having to share success on the dirt, but came back to his home track where he's a 3-time champion in the factory front-wheel drives as well as, how many win in the Fords?
Yeah, he's won multiple championships in
the
Fords. I was
going to say.
Yep. I think he won titles when we used to split the points, and we're back to splitting the points this year. But last year he won it when it was still a combination deal. So who else?
Now, did we get officially? It's supposed to be Hayden on the oval.
Yeah,
and
Dad
Matt on
signed
the
up
8.
on the figure 8. I did see that.
Yep. Okay, they do have separated on the signed up on the registration. So we're good there.
Yeah.
And
so it'll be interesting. See, I think Matt's been up here before. We've had him race
Matt Roberts,
a few times, and no, I mean
Matt
Adams.
Smith. Yeah, Matt Adams. Yeah, we were talking about. It's been a couple of years. The last time he was up here, said he really enjoyed it. Liked he liked it because we biffed and banged, but we didn't dump.
Yeah, and he lives down in southern Indiana, down around Sellersburg area. So they regular to Speedrome Speedway. So Fords are huge down there. So I don't know whose idea it was to come up here, whether it's the young ones or his, but they decided to bring an adventure up here to the Speedrome. We're glad to have them, and get to meet some fans tonight out on the track when we have the autograph session. So
Larry Hammond's one of our regulars, checking in from Southern Nevada. There, big fan. Asking about the situation with the Tunney cars. Well, so far, the only Tunney car that we've got in the pits is a 50 picked up by John Carlson, one of the Washington drivers. So who's been commuting here to Indianapolis for these figure 8 events.
Yeah, and he bought the first chassis off, the newer chassis off the jig over there from Third Turn Performance. And Ben's drove it a couple times, and Austin piloted it to top podium finish in the Jake's 150. And then I think he finished 5th last week at Anderson Speedway in it, and then they decided they were too packed over there, so they had to sell off a few cars to get some room, and John decided to buy it, so this will be his first outing in this machine.
Yep, caused quite the buzz there on the social media. Well, they're going out of business. No, they just had too much going on.
Yeah.
Third Turn handles a lot. They got a lot on the stove right now. with Faskarts and legend cars and mini late models and regular late models.
Not only that, they do a lot of work on your street cars. And
yep,
stuff over
he's
there. So,
trying to run his own family. His own.
But as we can see from our announce booth, I can see a couple trailers over there at third turn. So I mean, I imagine Ben's over there just waiting this out before he comes hauling over, making some last minute adjustments on his car. So he'll be over here.
Yep, he can basically drive over now.
Yeah,
I think
if it wasn't for a gate in between, he's literally probably 60 seconds from driving from the back door of third turn performance to his pit spot. So
Larry Hammonds, there you go.
Yep, and I assume we'll see Jesse Tunney tonight as well.
Yep. One of the speculations always being autograph night. Would we see, would Mark Tunney, who usually saves before the big events, is this something I've not heard yet about Mark?
Yeah, and with this year's schedule, kind of getting bumped around by some rain showers early in the season, and him racing last week, and I know he's got some big races on his schedule for here coming up. Apparently next weekend, I'm sure he'll be here for the Mike Gregg Senior Memorial, and so I don't know if he's planning on being here tonight, but you may hear sirens in the background. That's coming from our ambulance.
Yeah, this is their chance to shine. Since they've only in extreme emergencies do we ever transport with our track ambulance. That's there to serve as a sort of a medical base for our operations there. And should we actually need transport, usually we'll call an outside ambulance transport unless some dire emergency. It's only happened since I've been here. I think it's only happened twice I've been here.
So our ambulance usually never, ever, ever leaves our property.
Never leaves the grounds. It is capable to, but it does not.
So they don't get a chance to use those
bells
and whistles on it very often.
No. So it's kind of like when Pop lets you drive on the tractor. You just got to blow the horn. You got to.
Yeah. Well, when you put the kid in like the ambulance, the first thing they ask is going to turn the lights and siren on. Yep. So here we go. These are older kids that are driving.
They are, but
young at heart.
But kids are still kids. So again, we're just on a rain delay right here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. It's pop-up now starting to fade. Let's see, trying to watch the droplets. Don't have any puddles to splash. Usually when I watch the splashing of the puddles, not a whole lot of puddles out there.
Yeah, seeing a big opening of blue sky right there above
blue
us.
Blue sky. Speedrome's got blue sky.
Oh. Of course, the old joke of when you used to call, and ask, if we're running,
yeah.
We were always running.
It's dry here.
Yep, dry here.
Yeah, of course, we were answering from inside the pit office where it was dry.
Yeah. Of course, my mouth, sometimes when I'd answer the phone down there, somebody would always call and say, hey, it's raining over here in Mooresville. And my smart mouth would always say, well, it's a good thing the track's not over in Mooresville.
There you go.
They won't get to hear that on the phone today because I'm not down there. So
probably my worst mistake on that one was we were doing the show at Speedrome during the traveling days, and pouring down rain, and I'm answering the phone up there and saying, oh, yeah, we're racing. It's not rain here now. The guy was calling from the parking lot. He knew I was lying. He knew I was lying.
Yeah. We used to be able to get away with it back in the day when nobody had cell phones and stuff, when, you and I got started in this, But they would even call from that pay phone that was just right outside the pit office. It was literally bolted to the wall right outside the pit office.
Just to test it, yeah.
Yeah, they were literally inches away from walking in the front door, and they would make those phone calls. But, you had to sacrifice some loose change for that, back in the day. Take that dime and put it in the phone, Sure, we're talking way over some of you young folks' heads, payphone,
yes,
dime.
I think the last one got taken out from behind the main grandstand. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. And boy, a whole lot. I tell you what, there's a whole lot of conceiving going on with that phone. But it's very important to a whole lot of teenagers here on the east side.
I always remembered the one out front. You could never get on it because Doug Gregg was always on it. Doug Gregg seemed to be always on that. He must have had a pocket full of dimes. And I'm not sure who he was calling. All his friends were here. So, but he was always on the phone. So, maybe he was.
Well, the good one was back when, and going further back, when you could call into the phones.
Yeah.
And you had 2 or 3 little teeny bopper girls waiting behind the main grandstand for that phone to ring.
So, because, nobody back then had their own phone in the house. You just had that one phone in the kitchen, maybe one in the family room. So that was literally their hotline on a Saturday to call out there and talk to them. Oh, goodness. Oh.
More gaps opening up in the clouds, more lightning in the sky. Lightning. Had to pronounce that carefully. So should be wrapping this one up shortly. Well, they had us call for cars to the tracks. I'm not sure if maybe get with track crew and get that coordinated again. Maybe call these cars out that wanted to come out and help assist with the drawing process. So we'll wait for the word from race control on that.
Yeah, I got about 6 or 7 of our regular vehicles out here right now. Got the ambulance working the high line in, so Colton Swinford will be happy about that.
There you go. Well, this also used to be a fun time here for the crews, for the wives, girlfriends, that sort of thing, because on track drawing, we really didn't check, see if anybody who was behind, didn't check on anything other than the helmet on. And so that was a chance for your mechanic to go out and do some laps, your kid to go out and do some laps, your girlfriend to go out and do some laps.
Yeah, there were times where you'd been at the concession stand and came back to your pit and noticed your car was gone.
Yep. Somebody taking out there to go drive the track. Weren't you who had it?
It's funny, Tori. I hear some bigger drops hitting the window, but at the same time, the sun is out the most it's been in the last 20 minutes. So I can't explain that, but the skies do look much better. So I don't know if this was just the last bastion of that. Again, when you look on the forecast and look at the radar, this is just such a small blip on there.
Yep, just to pop up.
I mean, looking south of here, it looks a couple miles down the road, it's beautiful. Any direction, I can't see behind us to the east, but I know these other 3 directions look really well. So
and back in the day, this actually used to be where my Speedrome hole used to save us, because we'd have that coming out of the northwest like this, blowing across downtown, hitting all that concrete's been out in the sun all day long. It'd dry up the air just enough, and we'd get this little hole over us. This time it's hitting us.
Yeah, and we were about 10, 15 minutes from getting the old Darrell Waltrip Vortex up and running. We just had one group of junior fast carts, and just really hadn't got that wind circling to blow it away yet. So
well, we could always do the junior fast carts with SCCA rules. Same track for everybody.
Those kids though, they'd be brave enough. They'd say, "Let's do it."
They're more than a few, especially with the heat staying. It's still nice and warm out there, so it doesn't feel too bad.
Yeah.
But, nope, we got to hold off, wait, see what happens on this one.
Taking a look back at the former winners and podium finishers here, the Chip Brandom Memorial, which we're having tonight for the factory front-wheel drives. This first race was held in 2016. It was actually part of the Vors Compact Tour that very first season. Chris Jennings was your winner over Andy Jennings, and B.J. Honius were your top 3 finishers there. And, Chip at the time was dabbling back and forth between the Speedrome Hornets / front-wheel drives and the Vors Compact Tour, so we kind of had an event with that deal. And then it became part of the factory front-wheel drives regular season deal in 2017. And Roger Gwynn was your surprise winner that year, beating Nathan Arthur Sr. and Don Van Valkenburg III, who is here tonight.
Yep.
And then we moved on to 2018, and another sort of surprise winner, Joseph Liggett, coming home the winner in that deal over Jess Holliday and Scott Stewart.
That was a wild one, as I recall.
That was a crazy one. I think that was the one that happened on a Friday night. We had a weird situation where we had to move it to a Friday night, and it got moved to that. And then 2019, I remember an emotional Don Van Valkenburg III in Victory Lane that year, because Chip was a real good friend of his, and he really badly wanted to win this race and did in 2019. Andrew Brown finished second, and the old carp master, Ricky Johnson, finished third that year. And then in 2020, the pandemic year, didn't get started until June racing that year, and things got kind of smushed around that year as well. And Kimmy Gregg was able to come out on top on that and win that major. Kimmy having won all the majors so far in the front-wheel drive division, and Jess Holliday coming home the runner-up, who's making his return tonight. And then Andrew Brown finished third.
That's a good point. As folks who've dominated this division here the last couple of years, Brown and Holliday, they've never won this one.
Yeah. And then 2021 had another surprise winner, not because of the driver, but because of this class, and it was Joe Gonder Jr. coming home the win And he made very few front-wheel drive appearances. He spent most of his time in now the street stock division, formerly the Ford division.
Yep.
But he was the winner that year in 2021 over Don Van Valkenburg III. And our visitor from the Sportsdrome that year, Lavin Crane.
Lavin Crane, very impressive run on that one. He had a couple good runs there that season.
Yeah, and Lavin now is one of the up-and-coming drivers in the modified figure 8 division down at the Sportsdrome, doing a nice job. So
it's like Calvin's nephew or something like that?
I think it's his nephew, yeah. So finished third that year in 2021, and then we became the reign of Scott Stewart Jr. He won the race in 22, 23, and 24, going for his 4th straight. In that first year, he won it in 2022. Cameron Frentress was the runner-up, followed by Nathan Arthur Sr. Then in 2023, on his way to the track championship, Jonathan Morgan was the runner-up, followed by a veteran of the class, Nigel Peters. And then last year, it was Don Van Valkenburg III finishing 2nd. And then Kimmy Gregg coming home in the 3rd position. So that's kind of your podium history of the Chip Brandom Memorial 44. And, of course, it's 44 laps in honor of his car number. And Chip, part of the Branham family that have been around the Speedrome for a long, long time.
Yeah, for me, it was Kenny Brand for years. I worked with here at the. He's one of our track crewmen. He became our chief steward, when C.J. Rigdon finally retired. He served on the flags and pretty much every duty that you could have in that capacity, which is something sometimes gets forgotten about that you are expected to do. You know, everything from guarding the gate to waving a flag, and he handled it quite well. Served as chief steward, inspector, and that sort of thing for a long while. And he was also, before that, a long-time racer here. And he was always one of the working guys. So,
yeah.
But,
did some work out here, too.
He was an electrician. He was an electrician and did probably some of his stuff still out here in existence, just like with some of my patchwork. Every now and then I spot a bit of tape on something. I said, I put that up there in 78.
Yeah, so the Branham family, been around such a long time. And then Chip began racing with us, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And just a fun guy, like to help everybody around. Just one of the nicest people you'll meet in the pit area. And, unfortunately passed away. And we celebrate him with this memorial race each and every year.
And this is one of those that, the management never put this one together. It was the racers themselves. And, a couple of them they really wanted to honor their guy. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's been the nature of some of these, several of these tribute races we do here at the Speedrome. It's fewer coming natural here coming from management and family, things like the Jake Cohen and the Phyllis Tunney event. But this Chip Brandom is really from the heart and soul of this division, the factory front-wheel drive Hornet division, as you will. And they're the ones who put it together, the ones start. They're the ones that want to keep it rolling. So all the power to them. We'll keep doing what we can to keep that make that happen. And it's really kind of neat seeing these guys coming out of, seeing the older Van Valkenburgs and Jess Halliday, who's, swore he's basically done with this stuff, and, literally pulling a car out of the weeds there that's been sitting for last couple of months or years, I should say.
And on each one of those, if you went and talked to them right now, I'm sure the first things that had come out of their mouth was because it is the Chip Branham.
Yep.
Secondly, the autograph night means a lot to them as well. In the last couple of years, we've associated this race with the autograph night for the front-wheel drive divisions. But, it means a lot when somebody they raced with, somebody they helped work on cars with, just a competitor that they love so much. And it means a lot for them to be out for that.
Here we are right now. Looks like, can you spot any more raindrops hitting anything? Because I think that may have stopped finally. I'm seeing, still seeing a couple umbrellas up. So, I got a couple. There you go. We got Brave Missile on the backstretch there. Got his umbrella down. A couple more. Okay, so I think we may have done with the rain portion of it. Now it's just a matter of the drying portion.
Yeah, that second little burst, I don't know how long it lasted, maybe 60 seconds or whatever. Seemed like it was the heaviest of the whole deal. So it's what created the puddles in the infield, which are going to be a lot of work to do on that. But
so obviously it has cut into some of the practice sign, the arrangement of practice. We'll see what that have to rearrange as far as the rest of it. We'll play that one by ear, but we do welcome everybody. Come on out. If you're here in the Indianapolis area, planning on being out at Speedrome, it is autograph night here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. The junior Faskarts, and of course those kids love this autograph night and the sessions they have out there. They've all been getting their hero cards and all kinds of treats ready to go. And so look forward to that one.
Yeah, those of you watching in the local area, it's not just autographs. They'll have pictures out here for you. They'll have all kinds of goodies there at their table. Sometimes they have giveaways of swags and T-shirts and, buttons and pins and things. And and other goodies. Sometimes some treats for you out there.
Yep. You never know. I know. Just Holiday's got a whole packet of stuff from stuff from people's businesses. Of course, last week we had Scott King giving away bicycles. Justin Green giving away some engine work, I believe. He had a drawing working on stuff. So a lot of fun stuff happening. And we'll see what they're going to do this time. It's the folks themselves, the race themselves, putting that one together.
Yeah, and plus, right just feet away from where you're meeting them at the table, the race car course will be right there. So you'll get a chance to take a look at their car right there, maybe chat with the crew a little bit if you're interested in that. And just a very cool time to come on out. So if you can hear our voice there on the YouTube channel and you're in the local area, come on out and join us for tonight, one of the most fun nights of the year with the autograph session, and there'll be plenty of great racing tonight.
So Matt Smith ready to go. Manny Aguilar in attendance here tonight with us here, our old friend.
I know he tries not to miss these autograph nights. He's a very popular fella out there, and he gets a chance to be here for two of them because he was here last week.
Gets started writing his name down.
Yeah, with the senior Faskarts, he was here, so now he's brought his Outlaw figure 8 car.
Yep. Bobby Whitaker made out here early. He's already out in the pits. Jeffrey Shackelford Larry Hammonds. Jeffrey Shackelford is here, by the way.
And you know Bobby's a guy that sometimes strolls in late for practice, but I know from being in the garage that he gets here usually very early with all his candy and goodies because he doesn't like to miss these autograph nights. He loves meeting the fans whatsoever. And loves meeting his fans out here at the track. And Bobby always circles this race to be out here early on his calendar.
Yep, and let's see. I was told Shackelford was here, Manny.
Yeah, both the Sloans are out here ready to go, Dennis and Anthony. And, a couple of weeks back, I heard something this week here, Tori, but a couple of weeks back, during the race, we always talk about the little friendly rivalry between father and son out there. I've heard from some other folks that is real.
Yes.
That there's a little bragging rights during the week on who finishes ahead of who. So we'll make sure and try to keep an eye on that as the evening goes down. Nothing like a little fun rivalry between father and son.
They were razzing him as they got done loading there. Dennis was the first one to mention the fact that he's hurting right now because, Anthony's been able to do the neener on him because he's been finishing better than he has in the last few.
Yeah.
So, yep.
But they're very excited to be out here for you fans tonight. I seen them making some posts there on social media about being out here for the autograph night and excited.
But you folks, of course, are welcome. That's, about a $16 ticket, if I recall, $15, $16 ticket to get in. For all you grown-ups out there, I think they toss out some discounts for kids and seniors, but $16 ticket, full night of racing, 50 laps on the figure 8, 44 laps for the factory front-wheel drives, of course, that Chip Branham run. Fords on the oval and 8.
Yep.
So busy night of racing, plenty of figure 8 races for those who want to make sure we got that covered. And, of course, the last warm-up before fireworks next week, next Saturday night, it will be fireworks out here. And really glad to have you come on out and be part of the fun here tonight. Again, game plan was to start the autograph session about 6 o'clock. Getting fans out there on the track. We'll see if we have to move that back a little bit because of this rain. We'll play that by ear, just waiting for the word from race control on any schedule changes. We still want to make sure everybody gets a chance to do their hot lap session, get that covered. So,
yeah, and as you folks know that are regulars with us, a few weeks ago during the Jake's 150, we had a little bit of rain like this early in the day, and we just had to rearrange things a little bit. Still got tons of great racing in, just like we're going to tonight. And so we just may have to back up the hours a little bit, but come on out. Join us. We'll have plenty of fun with the autographs. We'll have plenty of fun with great racing from all 4 divisions here tonight.
And you get people coming in the stands. Welcome to Indianapolis Speedrome. I'm sure most of you actually I shouldn't say sad to say, but I pretty much recognize most of you. And we have people actually cheering on. Let's see, what are we cheering on? We're cheering on the minivans now? Okay. So we have a cheer section for our track dryers right now.
And of course, that last time we had the track drying out, we had Josh and Mikey out there going the wrong direction. I don't want to maybe lump Mikey in with that. I know it was Josh for sure that was going the wrong direction out on the track. So far we haven't seen any of that craziness yet. So got that all straightened out.
But again, you are welcome. Come on out. Gates are open now. Takes about $16 to get in. And glad to have you come out and have some fun with us. And for those of you here, also, you may wonder sometimes why we're talking about different things. We are not only live to you good people here at the track itself, but also live worldwide at our Speedrome.tv network, and also with the YouTube that we share. That's part of our Speedrome, and you're welcome to join that. Subscribe to that, please. Hit the likes and notifications, all that fun stuff. And we've been filling that up with a bunch of different things here, drivers' interviews and some fun events. You can check that out at YouTube there. But also, if you didn't know already, we do put our races, scoring events on the My Race Pass application for your smart device. And if all goes well, we'll hopefully get track tunes up so you'll be able to hear things more clearly. So it gets a little confusing sometimes. You hear Scott and I having conversations with people, say over the internet, that sort of thing. We do have a peanut gallery going and checking in with us on the YouTube page. And so we just like to keep you posted. Larry Hammonds, once again, is a chronic here. Larry, you're a chronic. What can I say? Asking, is Jeffrey Shackelford here? Yes, he is. He's one of the first ones in the pits tonight. He's already here. Did Tommy St. John buy one of Mason's cars? Scott and I did. Fill us in on the news on that.
Yeah, Tommy St. John planned on making this his season debut with that machine that he purchased. They practiced yesterday morning. Still had a few bugs left to work out on that, so they were going to take it back to the shop and get those final bugs worked out. So it looks like he's going to try to join us next Saturday night. So won't be long before we see Tommy. And Tommy, of course, somebody that will circle the World Figure 8 Championship 3-hour endurance races, something special for him. So he's going to start ramping up those events as he can throughout the rest of the season to get tuned up for that race. So wouldn't be surprised to see him 4 or 5 times coming out. So was hoping to see him here tonight, and him and I were talking. He was excited about coming out tonight because he had never actually been here with a car for autograph night. So he was looking forward to that, but unfortunately just didn't work out with the car preparation situation. They were getting a new car, and even when you purchase a car, you're always still going to have some bugs to work out, and you want to be here and try to compete for the victory. So,
and that is one. I mean, Tommy's qualified well, obviously, front row, track records, all that other fun stuff. But it's race he grew up hearing about his uncles winning. Yeah. Kenny picking up 5 times, Mike St. John getting the wins on that one. Of course, his dad, the crew chief on all those cars.
His dad I would say he's the winningest crew chief in the history of the 3-hour figure 8 endurance race. So,
and yet, obviously, this is one that has eluded him.
Yeah.
So be curious to see if he can.
Yeah, he's had some good top 5 finishes in the event, as he mentioned. He started on the pole one year, and he's won figure 8 races here at the Speedrome, several of them. He's also won a figure 8 race at the Showtime Speedway down in Florida. Yep. So Tommy is somebody we're excited to have back in the midst, and we'll see him here coming up real soon.
So good luck, Tommy. Looking forward to see you come on out and visit us once again. Now, he had a bit of change in his whole life. Had a little business there. He finally decided to get out of the little store he had a store he had going down there in Southport. He's been running the ball card circuit, last I heard, and quite successfully, apparently.
Yeah, and talk about just getting in that car. He's had that car for a few weeks now, but just hadn't got a chance to run it because he was already scheduled to be in Cincinnati and another town I can't remember off the top of my head the last couple of weekends. So that was something he had already planned, months and weeks ahead of time. So even though he had his car, it just wasn't going to work out, and that's why this weekend was going to be his debut because he was in town, but just quite wasn't ready to make it out here. And that's what they rented the track for, is to find out those things. Because you just don't want to come out here on your first night or race night and find out some issues need to be addressed and end up missing the race that night. So
those track rentals are available to you folks with your race car. We don't really want you to come out just a street car just to be goofy. But just contact the Speedrome here if you need some track time. Let us know, and we'll work out a rental for you. Usually 2 or 3 cars will get together and they'll pool their money together to kind of save a little bit of money on it. And it's a chance to get the car on the track without having other cars and rushing you, if nothing else, and guarantee you got all the time you may need to make some changes. So
yeah,
I'm going to avail you of that.
The sun's been out pretty steady now, Tori, and looks like it's doing its job to help our hard-working folks out there on the track that's driving the speedway. 2
or 3 little pump clouds there, kind of still dark overhead, but they're kind of making their way around. Clear skies behind. So, again, as we mentioned at the start of this one of those afternoon pop-ups, we've been getting those lately. I know I got hammered hard just yesterday afternoon, about this same time. Heavy winds and heavy rain, but it only lasted for about 15, 20 minutes. as it came through.
And my yard drank up every bit of it.
Yep. So we just need to get a chance to get this water moved. No major, a little bit of puddling happening still inside where the low spot there inside turn 4, of course. As we talked about over the years, that is the lowest bit of land in this entire area is our basically the infield of our turn 4. It's a couple inches lower than even the roadways and the like. Just sort of the way this area was built. This actually was swampland back up until the racetrack went into place here in 1941. The Sexton family, well, we've got this little chunk of corner of Brookville Road and Kitley Avenue.
And you folks that are nearby that can hear us and are watching us on YouTube, there are already 89 cars signed into the pit area tonight. So we're already got a great bunch of folks ready to race and put on a great show here tonight. And I know we have several others that are not on this list that will be here soon. Probably caught that rain at their house, so they're just deciding to wait it out a few more minutes before they come because they know if they get over here now, practice isn't going to start immediately. So I would expect us creeping in on that 100 mark here before about the time we get back practice underway. Juniors. And that's just 4 classes. So, I mean, that's a nice gathering.
Juniors up to 33, and goodness. We may beat what was it, 36 was your biggest?
39.
39 is the biggest field so far?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's something with that camp this week. There was a couple of folks there that had just purchased a junior fast cart that we'll be seeing here over the next few events. Yep. We also had some youngsters that they were thinking about buying a junior fast cart, and after that event, learning more, meeting some of the other parents, are working on getting their cart. So that division just keeps growing and growing and growing.
I think we just saw Ben Tunney pull in. The first of the Tunneys in the Tunney row over there.
Yeah,
pulled up next to John Carlson.
He finally made the long journey from next door.
He could pretty much bring his pickup truck and roll his toolbox over and just drive the car.
He's actually rented the track this season where he's driven the race car over here before.
Yep. Oh, that's how we used to do it, son.
Yeah, yep. So little old school movement. I'm in the pit office. I hear a little rumble coming down Kitley Avenue and look up on the security cameras, and here he comes.
Here he comes rolling down the road, yep.
Yeah, so, yep.
So Outlaw's coming in, factory front wheel drives, and the Fords, and all sorts of fun here. And it looks like the rain has stopped, as mentioned before. So if you're sitting at home wondering if you should come on out, come on out. If you sit up in the stands, get on the phone, let your friends know it's going to be a great night for racing. It's going to cool down just a touch, maybe touch muggy here for a bit. But as you can see, the track itself drying very, very quickly. It soaked up a lot of sun here the last couple of days, and dried up very, very quickly. So that looked good. A little issue there with a couple puddles strayed in the south end, but those are going to disappear fairly shortly, and we'll be ready to roll. Got the sweeper creatures out there brooming away. And let's see. Oh, another raffle from, there we go. I'll get a couple words here. Raffle Justin Green with Scott Stewart here at tonight's autograph. Having a raffle tonight all night long at the 20-hour pit stop and autograph session. $400 in free machine work.
Very nice.
Justin Green certified. So check in. Make sure you at autograph come check in with Justin Green. He's going to have a raffle for $400 worth of free machine work there from Certified Auto.
He'll be at the Scott Stewart Jr. table, so look for that green front-wheel drive out there. It won't be hard to find.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
Let's see from a bunch of people with their, as I was passing through their hero cards and all the other fun stuff. The kids are real excited. Kyle Downey's got a sweet little hero card.
Nice.
So this is looking forward to a lot of fun here with that, and that's happening here tonight. The Speedrome, glad to have you. Of course, Travis Harm's got a brand. I have to laugh, and got his hero card. He's got a whole new paint scheme on his number 94 machine. So
nice.
Not enough time to make new cards up, but he'll be ready for you. He's got a whole field of Van Valkenburgs and everything else, the Harmon Plumbing squad. They'll be out there and ready to roll. Of course, you never know what Jeff Shackelford's got going on. He's always one of those popular cars there at Autograph. And boy,
and of course, he's already had a busy weekend. He traveled out of state to run his dirt late model last night. Made the A main. I can't remember the track's name over in
It wasn't Florence. It wasn't Florence. No, it was Illinois. It wasn't.
No, let me look on my race pass because it's so great about that. Since I knew he was over there, I was sort of following him last night. He was at Moeller Raceway Park.
Oh, that's Ohio, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
Yep, Moeller.
Over in Ohio.
Yep.
So running his dirt late model over there, but of course back here tonight.
Yep.
And he is the point leader and defending champion of the division.
And still one of the most successful figure eight racers right now, period, in the outlaw world here in 2025. It's been racking them up.
Yeah, actually has figure eight victories this year at three different tracks, 3 different states. He won down in Florida at Auburndale. He won at the Painesville Speedway up in Ohio, and then has, of course, been to Victory Lane a few times here at the Speedrome, including the spring shootout.
And speaking of that and the other, you want to fill them in on the big news we got from Speed Sport.
We're going to make a post tomorrow about this, but
you folks heard it first.
Yep, on Speed Sport 1, which is their streaming channel, which is available on a ton of platforms. Some of your smart TVs even have it, but you can get it on the Roku channel and on Amazon Fire and on that. It's Speed Sport 1. It's their network. And there will be 4 different Speedrome figure eights that will be featured on there this week. On Monday, June 30th, so a couple days from now, you'll be seeing the Wayne Arnold Memorial Race, and that'll appear 3 times. That's 3 a.m., 11 a.m., and 7 p.m. on Monday, June the 30th. That's the Wayne Arnold Memorial 75-lap figure eight, and that's a race Dalton Connor won. And then also on Monday, June 30th, you're going to see the 75-lap reverse direction outlaw figure eight. That'll be at 4 a.m., noon, and 8 p.m. So a couple of those being back-to-back, you'll be able to watch the Wayne Arnold Memorial followed by the reverse direction figure eight on Monday. And, of course, that was a Sunday afternoon race won by the outlaw Jesse Tunney. And then on Wednesday night, July 2nd, the spring shootout will be shown on Speed Sport 1. That's at midnight as well as 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. The spring shootout 250-lap figure eight. Of course, aforementioned Jeffrey Shackelford, the winner on that one. And the latest thing that adds to their lineup, they've been showing these races already previously, will be next Saturday, July the 5th, will be the first airing of the Jakes 150. And that'll be shown and will be added more and more after next week. You'll see it in their rotation, so check your Speed Sport 1 local listings. And, of course, Jeffrey Shackelford was also the winner of that event as well. The Jakes 150, winning it on the very last lap of the race. So that should be thrilling to see. And Speed Sport 1, since it reaches so many people, that means our figure eight racers are going to be seen nationwide and on a free basis. So that's just great for all of our teams and sponsors and things. And we appreciate Speed Sport 1 and them for showing these figure eight races and getting our sport out to more race fans.
But darn the luck, on Saturday, the July 5th, they'll be here for the fireworks program. So
yeah, but that's
set your VCR.
but that's actually just the first showing of it. It's going to be on more the following weekend. That's their
the
week
premiere.
cycle. That's the premiere.
That's the premiere on the Speed Sport. So there you go, folks. Chance, if you're not on board with the Speedrome.tv, which you can also check those out on Speedrome.tv, by the way, as part of your pay-per-view, checking the archive programs. But you can also be able to catch it live and share with your friends elsewhere.
Yeah, and tomorrow on our Facebook page, I will be posting this schedule that I just read to you. And also inside the post, there will be links on where you could find Speed Sport 1 on whichever different device that you have. And there's a ton of different places to watch Speed Sport 1. So stay tuned for that post tomorrow on our Facebook page, and it'll let you know those times and where you can watch it on Speed Sport 1.
Of course, I can't watch mine on the little cable I had my buddy link up to the neighbor's house. They don't know about it yet.
The old days of climbing the pole
the pole, put the little filter on. Oh, to actually take the filters off. Oh, Lordy.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. I'll give you another Speedrome route. In my lifetime of doing video piracy, Mike Marcy used to provide our free HBO at my house way back when. Former racer here at the stock division, longtime mechanic for.
And of course, we're old enough that HBO was the only thing that was sort of outside the normal.
Yep.
There was no other.
Wait, you had Skinamax coming on board,
but home box office, was the very first thing that you see some of these things on. Catch some boxing or whatever back in the day, and you didn't have 552 sports channels that you can now find everywhere.
And I tell you what, our oval's look in great shape. I think a bit more time in the sun, and there's a couple little down lows we've talked about in the past there. The touch of weeper action going on down low in turn 4. And then just that little channel that runs down there on the inside groove.
Yeah, we got the blower out there working on that. So some of the new things we've added over the past couple of years, besides the sweeper and stuff, that blower device right there is very helpful on moving some of that water around.
And I know, I tell you what, Speedrome is definitely getting high tech. I was watching the crews unloading, and Rich Finnick was out there, had one of those electric leaf blowers.
Yeah.
Blowing the gravel and bits off the back behind the trailer.
Yeah.
I said, oh boy, when Speedrome start worrying about, we used to pull up in the gravel and still have bits and pieces of the race car from the week before, but blowing off our pit area now, we got high class.
Nice.
To you good people in the stands, appreciate you coming in and sitting through this. Hopefully, looks like somebody decided to tie the tires together, and we just about wore these tires out here. Got a little rack that's made with old racing tires attached to a frame, and we used it to drag that around the racetrack there to help dry things out.
I used to follow that a lot when I would help dry the track, and it would be just ahead of me.
Yep.
And you would have that water spray coming off of on the wind, and when you started smelling the actual tires, you knew the track was ready to go.
Yep.
Because when it was hovering on top of the water surface, it was just drying it, knocking that water around. But once you started smelling that rubber actually making the contact with the dry asphalt, you knew, hey, let's get off this track and let's move some race cars out here.
Well, I think unfortunately, they're about running out of tires on that thing. Looks like they wore it out after all these years. Of course, my key was always I put a J-hook to the back of the Jeep and then to one of the tractor tires, and I'll drive that through and make a point of always splashing through the puddles, get that splashed up into the air, but spread around, get that water drying out a bit quicker. In fact, that's what he's doing now. He was doing with the blower there. You might wonder, hey, he was blowing the water onto the track. That's actually to spread it out more.
Yeah.
Same thing as doing the broom on it. But let's see, this rack comes through. This thing's been with us how many years now, Scott?
It's been around for quite a while.
Well, actually, they may have put some new tires because they used to have a whole bunch of old Hoosiers on there, I think.
Yeah. I think they found out that actually the sidewalls on the truck tires are much more durable than the racing tires, because the racing tires, they would sort of burn through quickly. Yep. But they were more abundant. We could get plenty of used racing tires.
Because nobody wanted to throw them away with
where the truck tires, you kind of had to put the word out, and the last time I think we got some of those, we got actually from John Aldridge, I do believe, so from his shop up there.
Saves about $2 a tire.
Yeah.
Having to dispose of them.
Yeah, but the sidewalls are just much more heavier plies to have that heavier vehicle on, so because that's what you're actually dragging is the sidewalls onto the track there.
So hopefully we'll get things to the point where we can call for the race cars out here.
And most likely we'll have to stay tuned because we'll reverse the order than what we had planned because, even though the track will be fairly dry, the junior fast carts, I'm sure, will not be the first ones out on the track. It'll most likely be either the front-wheel drives or the Fords that'll take the lead in that and go from there. So we'll mix the order up, and we'll hear a word from that at some point of what order we're going to go in. But I would guess it would be the front-wheel drives of the Fords being the first vehicles that we'll take to the track.
Yep, so stand ready in the pit area, stand ready in the pit area. We tried to call you out earlier, but I guess they changed their mind. But stand ready in the pit area, we'll be calling you track here shortly for your hot lap session, first hot lap session. And
the oval's looking really good.
It is. Good shape on the oval. Down low for the juniors, I think maybe a touch damp still. They do tend to run a little bit lower on the racetrack in a lot of places, and so it's a little slick. They have very slick tires, not really made for this, whereas especially the Ford division cars are on DOT tires, so they've got treaded tires.
And it's not they run down there because that's the best lane for them. A kart wants to run the shortest distance possible to keep the momentum going. So that just happens to be where the karts like to run, except for the ones, that are letting the leaders pass or whatever up in the upper grooves.
Yep.
So
we'll be home for you here shortly as we finish getting some of these. You see going to work the Weeper Sweepers working here in turn 4. And that's right now probably the only difficult part we've got. At turn 1, what puddles we have are all the way to the infield inside of the marker. And, that's really and I guess the approach to 3 still got that touch low. And again, that still a huge improvement over what we grew up with here for many years here at the Speedrome, and that was the Lake Speedrome right there at the south end that sometimes would be with us through the entire race night.
Yeah. Got many of photos and videos in our collections, of that water down there. It would always present John and Linda would get some awesome pictures with the reflection of the cars in the puddle that were always great when we were just drying the track off. And it would look like there would be two race cars, simultaneously being there the same. But it was it was a reflection in the puddle. Just some great photo work done off the water there back in the day.
Somewhere out there, I still have a picture of Merrill Calvert, a midget racer from years past. And he had brought his fishing pole, and it's a picture of him sitting out in one of the marker tires there with fishing pole out in the water. We had a big event going on with, I think it was the TQ Midgets running that year. And we were here at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to wrap it up because of the late rains. And so we had some fun with that one. Of course, then you had the famous 3-hour race rained out, and we had Artie Ware and a whole crowd there playing water football.
Yeah.
There at the north end during that one.
Yeah.
I think that's 2017 on that.
18, I think.
18, okay.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Oh, God.
I guesstimated at the end of the weekend the laps that I turned in my vehicle trying to help drive the track was over 500 over the course of 4 days. So I put a lot of laps out there. Unfortunately, it wasn't any sort of competition, but and it just kept raining and raining and raining. Eventually, I had to run the race on Monday. We even qualified on Monday.
Yep, it was a long weekend.
We were just talking about that in the pit office this week, and a lot of the folks there in the office weren't here part of that deal, so I was kind of going over the nightmarish weekend that was.
Well, we lost our TV crew, for one thing. They had to head back for their next program.
Well, and the one that got the worst of it was Rod Proctor, who had traveled out here from California to run in the 3-hour, and he had used a semi service to bring his truck and trailer out here to ship it out here and sort of ship it back. And they were scheduled to go back Sunday afternoon because he figured that'd be enough to get through the race on Saturday. And even if we ran Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, which we've had to a few times, it was still enough time. But unfortunately, we had to run it on Monday. So poor Rod had to go home after only practicing on Thursday night and did not get a turn a lap in anger at all that weekend. That was just such a disappointment because, he didn't live down the street and couldn't make it here on Monday night. He had come all the way from California, so that whole weekend was just sort of a nightmare, but ended up having a great race on Monday night. And that's on your Speedrome TV subscription. You could go back and watch that. That would be the 2018 World Figure 8 Championship.
It was a wild one.
Yeah, so even though the weekend was a nightmare, the actual 3 hours of competition was fantastic that night.
Still had one. Calvin Crane sneaking out at the drop of the green is still one of the great moments of that race, and then staying on the lead lap for, almost halfway through the show.
Yeah, it was just such a weird afternoon, and just felt so weird being here on Monday. And, of course, a bunch of people were not able to come back as well that year on Monday. So it just –
and as you mentioned, that is part of the deal of getting that Speedrome TV subscription there, the $40 you pay for a month's worth, gives you all those old archived events. And,
every single race we've had in the last 6-7 years is on there.
Yep.
As well as just scattered events from throughout our history on there as well. So $39.99 is the monthly subscription to that, and that gives you access to all that, plus every live event except for the World Figure 8 Championship weekend. And, of course, that'll get put on there a week or so afterwards for you if you don't choose to get it. But just tons of hours. I wouldn't even know what to add up as far as how many hours you'd be able to watch on there.
And wait for the word. I'm seeing a very good reduction in the weepers there in turn 4. So
yeah, they're now concentrating down here in turn 1 of the figure 8 in the infield portion of it, trying to get that. Got 4 or 5 track crew members out there with their brooms, as well as the water sweeper there. The oval's starting to look really, really nice to where front-wheel drives or Fords should be out on it anytime soon here. So we'll just await a word on that.
Yep. So apologize for the delay, folks, but we are on a brief rain delay here, wrapping that up. And Waiting for the word from race control. Be able to send some cars out here and gets hot laps started once again. I think, yep, they may be sending our track trucks off. No? Dennis Sloan worried about he's going to get in trouble for soaking his tires. Which actually, that was actually one of the issues they had with in the soaking days was soaked tires on wet tracks were not a good combination. They tended to slime up really bad.
Yeah, and even if the track got dried up from that, there was still just sort of the dampness that was still a little bit into the track, and it sort of hampered those deals.
Dylan Douthit's made it out, and Ben Tunney's officially here. Lee Schwartz has made it. So 16 so far of the Outlaws registered on a My Race Pass. 20 factory front-wheel drives. I think it might be more than that because I don't think everybody got registered in there. 33 of the juniors so far registered. 13 Fords on the oval and 11 on the 8. And folks now starting to come back out again once the rain stopped. So welcome out here. Again, folks here in the stands, we are on a bit of a rain delay in case you didn't figure that one out on your own. And doing some track drying. And as soon as we get everything ready to go, again, we'll keep you posted here on the change of schedule for the other activities. For example, that change the timing of practice. Might just move the schedule back a bit. We'll just keep tabs with race control. Should be some, hopefully sending these guys on into position of safety and get some cars on the track. So stand ready Ford, stand ready factory front wheel drives. Be calling you here to the track here shortly. Stand ready Fords and factory front wheel drives. Be calling the track here shortly to get going with the hot lap session and wrap up the track drying. So we're just waiting for the green light from race control, get things cleared away from the track, and get ready to bring some heavy equipment out here, get things drying. Looks like our producer Kurt Gerald's going out there with some water for the track crew. Keep hydrated. Will be, of course, another muggy night. Still be warm out there, so make sure you are prepared for that. Keep an eye on the youngsters and oldsters nearby. Make sure they're staying properly hydrated. And doing our best NASCAR refueling action over there in turn 1 on the track truck. So look at that. ended up turning a few more laps than they thought we were going to be doing. But once again, we are worldwide live here from the Indianapolis Speedrome here at the corner of Brookville Road and Kitley Avenue, where we've been posting up racing since 1941, September 1941. Able to enjoy a couple of weeks' worth of racing activities until, well, basically just a little shy of bombing Pearl Harbor itself. They would even rain no matter what. Basically, if it was dry enough to race, they would rain. Or if it was dry enough to race, they would race. Even going into the winter temps, because everybody was just wild about the midget racing. Then there was the king of racing. That's what we raced on this racetrack. Stock cars were kind of unknown. They're called the big cars usually, or jalopies, and usually ran the bigger tracks. As midget racing, those Speedrome specialized in. Infield was all dirt with a row of nail kegs, little barrels there, marking the inside lane, which was pretty cool because they would blow up on you as the cars got out of line there and hit it. The outside of the track itself, wooden guardrails, occasional metal guardrails. Not a whole lot of protection there. About an 8-foot, 10-foot tall fence there between the spectators and the cars themselves. Race on up until the start of hostilities and the weather kind of shut it down. Then due to the need to reserve supplies, cut off the racing programs here, the unnecessary entertainment activities, but automotive activities. At the time, the rationing that went into effect due to the war in the Pacific that cut off oil supplies and rubber supplies. So, wrapped up the racing program there for a little bit until about June 14th or so of 1944. I believe it was the Mutual Racing Association was given permission to start having a racing program by the Board of Materials Management there. And they actually had a race scheduled at Mount Lawn Speedway, but was rained out. And we had one here at the Speedrome one evening, and we were basically the first racing activity to officially take place during World War II, and been racing ever since, making us one of the longest continuously operated race car tracks in the planet, or on the planet. So we're kind of tickled about that. Continued racing throughout several years of some difficulties and the like. Of course, midget racing eventually gave way to stock car racing. We continue with that open wheel tradition here at the Speedrome, a couple programs each year. In fact, make case that the things like the legend cars and the mini late models is actually a continuation of that midget racing using motorcycle engines in a smaller wheelbase vehicle. Figure eight racing popping up here about 1948 or so, and that's about when stock car racing in this level just started taking off and replaced midget racing as being the hotbed of racing here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Proud to be with you here tonight as we get ready to rock out some racing programs out here. Busy little tonight. Autograph night, of course. We're going to have our Junior Fast Kart division out here. Plenty of cars there. 3 features for that one. The Outlaw Figure 8s will be running Figure 8 program. The Fords are on hand there for an oval and Figure 8 program. And, of course, the factory front-wheel drives have their 44-lap Chip Brandom Memorial here this evening. Here in a little bit here, we get word from Race Control about changes in the schedule. Hopefully get some race cars out here soon and get them drying off the track and get the hot laps in for the various divisions and roll into the autograph session from there into the night's racing program. So please just bear with us, and should be getting the green light here shortly.